boy. Oh boy. Here we are once again, bringing it back, running it back to what we did before. It's been a while, but you know we're gonna we're gonna get the job done. What's up, Jackson? It's been a while, brother. Honestly, these NBA playoffs have been some of the most interesting I've seen in quite some time. Like from a totality standpoint, do you think the Pacers actually have a chance to make the finals? Yes, I'm gonna say yes. Um, this game made me feel differently. I was gonna say Boston in 6. That was my expectation. But I don't hate it. And they really showed me something today, honestly. Only dropping by 5 in overtime. Yeah, it's definitely been a while since I last streamed. The issue remains that ironically the Boston Celtics still struggled with, but somehow managed to pull it away. I'm not gonna say somehow. I know how they did it. Um, the way the numbers indicated, put simply, the Boston Celtics won because they hit more free throws. There was 30 total free throws for the Boston Celtics, only 10 for the Indiana Pacers, and they both attempted 99 shots. Now, the other thing has been the simple fact that the Boston Celtics also, while attempting 20 more free throws, also attempted 10 more threes. And by the way, both teams shot 99 shot attempts. But when it came to overall shooting, Indiana was 53 for 99, 53%, 53.5%, excuse me. And then the Celtics were 47.99, so 47.5%. So while Boston ended up taking 10 more threes, they only hit one. They hit two more. They were 15 of 45, which is 33%. The Pacers were 13 of 35, which is 37%. So, respectable. But the Pacers were 9 of 10 from the fifth line. The Boston Celtics were 24 for 30. Obviously, late game fouls and mistakes get into the way of that as well. But overall, a solid game. Indiana also had 8 more total assists, 1 more total rebound. They did have 3 less steals and 1 less block, but the bad part was their turnover category as well. 21 for them, only 14 for Boston. Yeah. 5 of them were Aaron Neesmiths, 4 of them were Miles Turner, 3 of them were Hallie, and 3 of them were Obi as the top ones with 3 or more. Jaylen Brown had a pretty good game. He didn't shoot great from 3, but everywhere else he was doing his job. Excuse me. Jason Tatum had a solid game. And then Al Horford was as reliable as you could hope him to be at, his age, playing 40 minutes in a playoff game that had significant implications on where the team goes going forward. Derek White was okay. Drew Holiday was the other guy that really packed a scoring punch. Really a three-headed snake over there. The bench really didn't get much. Sam Hauser only played 9 minutes. Then you had Peyton Pritchard play 22 and a half, and Luke Cornett play 13 and a half. Together, they combined for 13 points between each other, though they did shoot the ball well. But most of the damage was done by the starters, who all basically played 40-plus minutes. Jaylen Brown, 44 and a half. Jason Tatum, 45 and a half. Al Horford, 40. Derek White, 42. And Drew Holiday, 48. So definitely something that isn't necessarily the most sustainable, but it's going to be decently sustainable for now for this squad. Meanwhile, the Indiana Pacers rolled out the carpet. Jalen Smith only played a minute, so we're not really going to focus on him. But Isaiah Jackson played 3.5 minutes. You had 4 minutes, excuse me. You had Ben Shepherd playing 17 and a half. TJ McConnell playing 24 and a half. You saw Obi playing 21 and a half, almost 22. So they were definitely there. They were definitely playing big minutes. But again, the starters for the Pacers still played most of the game. Neesmith was 6 of 12 from the field, 1 of 5 from 3. He did his free throw. He had 6 boards, 1 assist, 2 steals, and the team leading 5 turnovers for a total of 14 points. And ironically enough, despite having 5 turnovers, his box score plus minus was a positive 1. You have Pascal Siakam going 12 for 23. He attempted the second most field goals on the court, only beat by Jason Tatum, who had 26. He did end up being 0 of 2 from 3. He had 9 rebounds, 7 assists, 1 steal, 2 turnovers, so 24 points. Box score plus minus was the high, tied for the highest on the team, alongside with Ben Shepherd at positive 5. Miles Turner was 9 of 13 from the field, 3 of 4 from 3, which has been a sneaky important part of his game, just being able to knock down those open threes and when they present themselves, hitting those, because he's done it consistently for a couple games now. He had both of his free throws. He had 10 boards, 4 assists, 2 blocks, and 4 turnovers for a total of 23 points. Then you had Andrew Nemhard, who was 5 of 10 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3. Then he also had 3 rebounds, 7 assists, and 1 turnover for a total of 12 points. Box score plus minus of a -7. Then last but not least, we had the one and only Tyrese Halliburton, who was 8 of 18 from the field, 6 of 14 from 3. And then 3 of 3 from the free throw line. He also had 3 boards, 10 assists, 3 steals, 1 block, and 3 turnovers for a total of 25 points in a box score plus minus of a -11, surprisingly enough. I will give Obi Toppin and TJ McConnell their praise. Excuse me. Because TJ McConnell was 6 of 11 from the field, and Obi Toppin was 6 of 8 from the field. So together, Obi had 15 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, and his 3 turnovers. And then TJ McConnell had 13, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, and 1 turnover. But yeah. He said, okay, the West 2 wins. The West 2 wins, and Celtics for the East. The Celtics will probably end up winning in the East. The Pacers winning would be interesting, but I don't see it really happening. In the West, though, give me the Timberwolves. Timberwolves against Luka and those Mavs. We saw, let's see, Timberwolves for the West. Yep, you would be correct. Indiana should have lost first round if Giannis was. Shouldn't have, probably. Shouldn't have lost. Oh, should have lost first round, yeah. If Giannis was playing. And then in the second round, they could have won because, again, injuries for Knicks. Yeah. Yep. This stat sheet is pretty nice, though, if I do say so myself. The only inactive players were Benedict Mathurin for the Indiana Pacers and obviously Porzingis and Tillman for Boston. Just in case anybody cared. What's up, Dallin? I don't know about that because they beat him a ton with Giannis. Do you think the Pacers could win game 2? I think that is definitely possible, right? They found a lot of things they can exploit. They found a lot of actions that worked. I think that it's very reasonable to assume they take game 2. It's going to be a tough battle. I think they do get another game somewhere, probably on the one, at the closest to home type situation. I think is going to be the one that ends up making the difference. But for the rest of the guys, they just shrug their shoulders at it. I think that they could end up winning game 2 though because they have stuff that works. They have stuff that they also know would not work or thought might work and then it ended up not working. So it's definitely workable if I do say so myself. Let's see. Celtics in 5. Celtics in 5 is a interesting one. I don't know how worthy it would be, how fulfilling it would be to go that far and push him to try and, you know, to do more. I think that they're pretty much I think the Pacers have shown most, if not all, of their cards. But I say Celtics, Timberwolves, and Wolves win the finals. I prefer to play the Pacers because that's more of a surefire victory. Like, yes, they share the ball, but that's really it. Like, in a situation where Russell Westbrook is open, we will definitely leave that where it is. Because it's a situation where I personally believe that one team is just naturally and objectively better than the other from a star power standpoint, if nothing else, but it's just not enough to make stuff actually happen when you really want it to. There's a limit to a lot of teams' construction, and I think that the Pacers are experiencing theirs. Might be a tiny bit biased because I don't want the Celtics to win. No, you're good, Jackson. But yeah. Obviously on the other side of the bracket we have Dallas and Minnesota, which should definitely be interesting, put mildly. And when I say that more so because Minnesota should be a little bit more rested. They should be a little bit more capable, and then wondering how the what do you call it? They're starting a fire, and there's some interesting happenings going on. Either way you look at it. You said, what do you think will happen? I think the Pacers end up losing out in 6. It's going to be a hard fought 6th game, but they're going to be up out of there. Then the original girl will probably, or the original situation will probably return. You mean Minnesota in X? I'll go. Was going to end up stealing one of these games right here at home or on the road, but they didn't end up stealing the one that this first game. So I guess they're going to have to make it happen in the second game. And then we'll see Minnesota and Dallas go at it. I think it's going to be a little bit more lopsided than people think. I think Dallas is good at, and I don't see that situation over there. You said the biggest surprise for me was Timberwolves over Nuggets. Oh, I had my money on that one. I'm not gonna lie. Well, not figuratively, I did. If they had continued to struggle, I would have been worried because you don't want to start looking like you're going to sweep somebody and go up 2-0 and then get reverse swept and somebody drops 4 straight games on you. That's bad looks. So once they got that one game and they went up and they let me think. They tied it, right? They won game 6, game 7, game 1, and game 2, I believe. So once you're able to finally tie it because you're in an elimination situation and you don't want to go home and just sit there, you got to step it up a bit, and they did that day. So 100%, 100%. Now, the interesting thing with Minnesota and Dallas is you're going to have a situation where Minnesota doesn't really have the muscular bruiser type guard to match up with Luka. They have length, don't get it twisted. They obviously have Jaden McDaniels. They have Nikhil Alexander Walker. They have Anthony Edwards. But Anthony Edwards says that he's going to be marked on Kyrie most of the time, which I believe Kyrie's going to end up getting his regardless. You just got to make it hard and make him work for every bucket and hope he runs out of fuel before things continue, which is definitely, possible. But at the same time, it's hard to argue with the body of work, and the body of work says it's going to be difficult. Mm. 53% from the field and 37% from three-point range by the Pacers is actually insane. The defense for Timberwolves is crazy. Absolutely. Absolutely. Like, they took it up another level, and I think that's what Dallas is going to be missing in their game. Dallas, of course, pretty decently coached team, offensively skilled by their just main two players and just the role players and how they play around each other. But I don't see a world where they all like creep out on their own. I don't think that's a reasonable assumption to have. I think that the Timberwolves are going to be loud, proud. You're going to have Gnaw and Order, as I saw. I found that very interesting. You're going to have those boys Gnaw and Order handling both Luca and whatever other situation they might have brewing, and to help out a little bit onto what is his name? Just to have him out on the shooter. But I think the Timberwolves as a whole are going to be the most successful because they're the most defensively disciplined. Being a good defensive team doesn't always mean that you're disciplined. You would assume that you are probably disciplined, but there is no guarantee of that. So in this situation, I think that this is going to be yet another test where the Timberwolves who they are. And Luca, but high praise to him and what he was able to accomplish, make things happen. So happy for those and people of the elite. You said hot take: Luca doesn't win MVP or finals in career. This would be the closest he can get. It's definitely not getting easier. It's definitely not getting easier. I think over the past 4 years, there hasn't been a single individual that arrived late-ish, but it was to be expected. I think that if Luca doesn't end up winning any MVP and he doesn't win any finals or even a finals game or something, then I think, yeah, it's probably about that time. But